Human brain and AI brain, AI and human brain, convergence of cognitive power and computational precision. The above image illustrates a comparison between a human brain and an AI brain, highlighting their functions and capabilities in the context of AI modeling, particularly in terms of how both handle training data sets, test data, and unseen data. Pradeep K. Suri. Author, researcher, and AI DNN architect. 1 Training data set. Human brain. The human brain learns through experiences, repeated exposure, and reinforcement. When we encounter new information, our brain processes it, draws connections with prior knowledge, and reinforces pathways that are repeatedly used. This is like how we train our brains over time, making us better at tasks through practice and learning. AI brain. An AI model is trained using a data set, which is analogous to the experiences of the human brain. The training data set is used to teach the AI patterns and correlations in the data. During this phase, the model learns to recognize patterns, relationships, and features in the data, adjusting its internal parameters to minimize error. This process is repeated until the AI can predict or classify data with high accuracy. 2 Test data. Human brain. The human brain tests its understanding and abilities when faced with new, but similar, situations. This is like being in an exam where the questions are based on what one has learned, but they may be presented in a slightly different context. The brain evaluates how well it has internalized and can apply knowledge. AI brain. After training, an AI model is evaluated using test data, which the model has never seen before. This data is used to check how well the model has generalized from the training data to new, similar data. The performance of the test data indicates how well the AI will perform in real-world scenarios. 3 Unseen data, real-world data. Human brain. The human brain is constantly encountering new and unfamiliar situations. It uses past knowledge and experiences to make decisions and predictions in these novel scenarios. The brain's ability to generalize and adapt to new information is crucial for survival and learning. AI brain. In AI modeling, unseen data refers to data that the AI model encounters in real-world applications after it has been trained and tested. This is the ultimate test of the model's robustness and generalization capability. If the model performs well on unseen data, it suggests that it has learned effectively and can handle real-world variability. In summary, the human brain and AI brain both undergo processes of learning, training, testing, validation, and applying knowledge to new situations, unseen data. The image represents the dual nature of cognitive and artificial intelligence processes, highlighting the parallels between human learning and AI model training. The human brain is trained through a complex process that involves learning, adaptation, and reinforcement over time. This process occurs naturally as we interact with the world around us, gaining new experiences and refining our abilities. Here's how the human brain is trained. 1 Experience and learning. Sensory input. The brain receives information through our senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. This sensory input is processed by different areas of the brain. Pattern recognition. As the brain is exposed to similar stimuli repeatedly, it starts to recognize patterns. For example, a child learns to recognize a dog by repeatedly seeing different dogs and noticing common features like fur, forelegs, and barking. Association. The brain creates associations between different pieces of information. For example, the sight of a dog may become associated with the sound of barking. These associations help in forming memory and understanding the world. 2 Practice and repetition. Neural pathways. With repeated practice, the brain strengthens neural pathways. Neurons, brain cells, that are repeatedly activated together form stronger connections, making certain actions or thoughts easier over time. This is often summarized by the phrase neurons that fire together, wire together. Skill development. Repetition is key in skill acquisition. For example, learning to ride a bicycle involves practicing the movements over and over until they become second nature. The brain eventually automates these processes, allowing us to perform them without conscious effort. 3 Feedback and adjustment. Trial and error. The brain learns through feedback. When an action leads to a positive outcome, the brain reinforces the behavior, making it more likely to be repeated. Conversely, if an action leads to a negative outcome, the brain may adjust and try a different approach. Learning from mistakes. Making mistakes is an essential part of learning. The brain uses errors to refine its understanding and improve future performance. For example, when learning a new language, making mistakes in pronunciation or grammar helps in eventually mastering the language. 4. Memory consolidation. Short-term to long-term memory. Information is initially stored in short-term memory. Through processes like rehearsal and sleep, this information is consolidated into long-term memory, making it more stable and retrievable in the future. Reinforcement. Memories are strengthened by repetition and emotional significance. Strong emotions, such as fear or joy, can make memories more vivid and easier to recall. 5. Adaptation and plasticity. Neuroplasticity. The brain is highly adaptable, a characteristic known as neuroplasticity. This allows it to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. For example, if a person loses one sense, like sight, the brain may enhance other senses to compensate. Learning new skills. Even in adulthood, the brain can learn new skills or adapt to new environments. This is why people can continue to learn new languages, instruments, or hobbies later in life. 6. Emotional and social learning. Emotional impact. Emotions play a significant role in learning. Positive emotions can enhance the brain's ability to absorb and retain information, while stress or anxiety can hinder it. Social interaction. Humans are social beings, and much of our learning comes from interacting with others. Social learning, such as observing and imitating others, plays a crucial role in developing behaviors, language, and cultural norms. 7. Motivation and goal setting. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Motivation drives the learning process. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, such as personal interest or enjoyment in learning, while extrinsic motivation comes from external rewards, like praise or grades. Goal-oriented learning. Setting goals helps focus the brain's efforts on achieving specific outcomes. This can enhance the learning process by providing direction and purpose. 8. Sleep and rest. Memory consolidation during sleep. Sleep is vital for the brain's training process. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories, processes information, and clears out toxins. This is why getting adequate sleep is crucial for learning and memory retention. Rest and recovery. Just like muscles, the brain needs rest to recover from intensive learning sessions. Breaks and relaxation help in preventing cognitive overload and maintaining long-term productivity. Conclusion. The human brain is trained through a dynamic interplay of sensory input, repetition, feedback, memory consolidation, and neuroplasticity. Over time, these processes allow us to learn new skills, adapt to new environments, and continually refine our abilities. This training is ongoing and is influenced by our experiences, emotions, social interactions, and motivations throughout life. Training an AI brain, or an AI model, involves a systematic process that mirrors some aspects of human learning, such as learning from data, recognizing patterns, and improving performance over time. Here's an overview of how the AI brain is trained. 1. Data collection and preparation. Training data. AI models are trained on large data sets, which provide examples of the task the model needs to learn. These datasets consist of input-output pairs where the input is the data the model receives, and the output is the correct prediction or classification. Data cleaning. The collected data often needs to be cleaned to remove noise, errors, or inconsistencies. This ensures that the AI model is trained on high-quality data. Data pre-processing. The data may also need to be pre-processed, such as normalizing numerical values, encoding categorical variables, or resizing images. This step helps the AI model process the data more effectively. 2. Model selection and initialization. Choosing a model architecture. The choice of model depends on the task. For example, convolutional neural networks, CNNs, are commonly used for image recognition, while recurrent neural networks, RNNs, are often used for sequence data like text or time series. Initialization. The AI model starts with initial parameters, weights and biases, that are usually set randomly. These parameters will be adjusted during training to minimize errors. 3. Forward propagation. Input data. During training, the AI model receives an input, example an image, text, or numerical data. Prediction. The model processes the input through its layers, applying mathematical operations to transform the input into an output, example classifying an image as a dog or cat. Output. The model produces an output based on the current parameters. This output is the model's prediction. 4. Loss function. Calculating error. The loss function measures the difference between the model's prediction and the actual target, ground truth. For example, in a classification task, this could be the difference between the predicted probability and the true label. Common loss functions. Different tasks use different loss functions, such as mean squared error for regression tasks or cross-entropy loss for classification tasks. 5. Backpropagation and gradient descent. Backpropagation. Backpropagation is the process of calculating the gradient of the loss function with respect to each parameter in the model. It works by applying the chain rule to compute the gradients layer by layer from the output back to the input. Gradient descent. Once the gradients are computed, the model's parameters are updated using an optimization algorithm, typically gradient descent. The parameters are adjusted in the direction that reduces the loss, thereby improving the model's predictions. 6. Iterative training, epochs. Epochs. Training is usually done in multiple iterations called epochs. During each epoch, the entire training dataset is passed through the model once, and the model's parameters are updated based on the calculated gradients. Batch processing. For efficiency, especially with large data sets, the data is often divided into smaller batches. The model is updated after each batch rather than after the entire dataset. This approach is known as many-batch gradient descent. 7. Validation and overfitting prevention. Validation data. Alongside the training data, a separate validation dataset is used to evaluate the model's performance after each epoch. This helps in tuning hyperparameters and monitoring for overfitting. Overfitting. Overfitting occurs when the model learns to perform very well on the training data but fails to generalize to new, unseen data. Techniques like regularization, dropout, and early stopping are used to prevent overfitting. 8. Testing on unseen data. Test data. After training, the model is evaluated on a test dataset, which it has never seen before. The test data is used to assess the model's ability to generalize and perform in real-world scenarios. Performance metrics. The model's performance is measured using metrics like accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, mean squared error, etc., depending on the specific task. 9. Fine-tuning and optimization. Hyperparameter tuning. Hyperparameters, like learning rate, batch size, and number of layers, are fine-tuned to achieve better performance. This can involve techniques like grid search, random search, or more advanced methods like Bayesian optimization. Model optimization. Further adjustments might include changing the model architecture, adding more layers, or using different types of layers to improve the model's accuracy or efficiency. 10. Deployment and inference. Deployment. Once the model is trained and tested, it is deployed into a production environment where it can make predictions on new, real-time data. This process is known as inference. Continuous learning. Some AI models are designed to continue learning from new data even after deployment. This is known as online learning or continuous learning, and it allows the model to adapt to changing data patterns over time. Conclusion. Training an AI brain is a structured process involving data collection, model training, and performance evaluation. The AI learns by adjusting its parameters based on the data it processes, gradually improving its ability to make accurate predictions. The goal is to create a model that generalizes well to unseen data, making it useful in real-world applications. Model accuracy comparison. The model accuracy comparison chart you've generated shows the accuracy of a random forest model across 3 different data sets: training data, test data, and unseen data. Here's a breakdown of what the chart illustrates. 1. Trained data, blue bar. The accuracy for the training dataset is very high, close to 100%. This indicates that the model has learned the patterns in the training data very well, potentially to the point of overfitting. Overfitting occurs when a model performs exceptionally well on the training data but struggles with unseen data, as it might have learned noise or details that are not generalizable. 2. Test data, green bar. The accuracy of the test data is slightly lower than the training data but still relatively high. This is a good sign as it indicates that the model is generalizing fairly well to data it hasn't seen before during training. The test set acts as a proxy for how the model might perform on real-world data, and a high test accuracy suggests the model is not heavily overfitted. 3. Unseen data, orange bar. The accuracy of the unseen data, new, previously unencountered data, is noticeably lower than both the training and test data. This is normal, as the model is now being tested on data with potentially different distributions or patterns than what it was trained on. However, if the accuracy drop is significant, it could indicate that the model is struggling to generalize to new data, which might require further model tuning or more diverse training data. Interpretation. High training accuracy indicates that the model has learned the training data well. Moderate test accuracy suggests good generalization to unseen patterns that are somewhat like the training data. Lower unseen accuracy demonstrates how the model performs on entirely new data. The gap between the test and unseen accuracies might suggest the need for additional data augmentation or regularization techniques to improve generalization further. Conclusion. The chart provides a clear visual of how well the model is expected to perform in a real-world setting. A large gap between test and unseen accuracies suggests room for improvement in the model's robustness to different data scenarios. Improving a machine learning model like the random forest model depicted in chart involves several strategies to enhance its generalization capabilities and overall performance. Here are some methods you can consider. 1. Feature engineering. Add more relevant features, identify and include additional features that may help the model better capture the underlying patterns in the data. Remove irrelevant features, perform feature selection to remove features that do not contribute to the model's performance or introduce noise. 2. Data augmentation. Increase training data, collect more data or augment existing data to provide the model with a more diverse set of examples. This helps in capturing a wider range of patterns and reducing overfitting. Balance the dataset. If dataset is imbalanced, example in classification tasks, use techniques like SMOT, synthetic minority oversampling technique, to balance the data. 3. Model tuning. Hyperparameter optimization, use techniques like grid search, random search, or Bayesian optimization to find the optimal hyperparameters for the random forest model, example number of trees, maximum depth, minimum samples per leaf. Reduce overfitting. Increase regularization, apply stronger regularization techniques, example by limiting tree depth or using a higher minimum number of samples per leaf. Pruning, apply pruning to remove branches that have little importance in classification, reducing the model complexity. Ensemble techniques, combine random forest with other models or use techniques like boosting, example gradient boosting, AdaBoost, to create a more robust model. 4. Cross-validation. K-fold cross-validation, instead of relying on a single train test split, use K-fold cross-validation to assess model performance across different subsets of the data. This provides a more reliable estimate of model accuracy and reduces variance. 5. Model selection. Try different models, experiment with different algorithms, such as gradient boosting machines, GBM, XGBoost, light GBM, or deep learning models, depending on the complexity of the data. Stacking, combine multiple models through stacking to leverage the strengths of different algorithms. 6. Improve data quality. Data cleaning, ensure the data is clean, free of outliers, and consistent. Handling missing values appropriately can also improve model performance. Noise reduction, remove or reduce noise in the dataset that might cause the model to learn irrelevant patterns. 7. Regularization techniques. L1/L2 regularization, apply L1 or L2 regularization, if using logistic regression or SVMs, to penalize large coefficients, preventing overfitting. Dropout, for neural networks. If using neural networks, consider using dropout to randomly drop units during training, which helps prevent the model from overfitting. 8. Advanced techniques. Transfer learning, if applicable, use a pre-trained model on a similar task and fine-tune it on specific data set. Meta-learning, explore meta-learning techniques to improve model performance by learning from previous modeling experiences. 9. Improve unseen data handling. Domain adaptation, if the unseen data comes from a slightly different domain, consider domain adaptation techniques to make the model more robust to domain shifts. Regularization for generalization, techniques like early stopping, dropout, or stronger regularization can help the model generalize better to unseen data. 10. Evaluate with real-world scenarios. Test on real-world data, if possible, test model on real-world data to ensure it performs well outside of controlled testing environments. Monitor model drift, continuously monitor the model's performance in production to detect any drift in accuracy over time, and retrain the model as needed. Python program that combines the random forest model training, testing, evaluating, and visualization using Plotly for training, testing, and unseen data. Improved version. The bar chart titled Model Accuracy Comparison shows the accuracy of a model across 3 different data types: train, test, and unseen. Each bar represents the accuracy for one of these data types, and all 3 bars reach the top of the chart, indicating an accuracy of 1, or 100%, for each. This suggests that the improved version of the model has achieved perfect accuracy not only on the training data but also on the test and unseen data. This is quite significant because it implies that the model generalizes exceptionally well to new, unseen data, which is a key goal in machine learning. Would you like to know more about how such improvements are typically achieved in machine learning models? Improving a machine learning model to achieve perfect accuracy across training, testing, and unseen data is quite an accomplishment. Here are some common strategies that might have been used to achieve this. 1. Data augmentation, increasing the diversity and amount of training data by creating modified versions of the existing data. This helps the model generalize better to new data. 2. Feature engineering, creating new features or modifying existing ones to provide more relevant information to the model. This can significantly improve the model's performance. 3. Hyperparameter tuning, adjusting the parameters that control the learning process of the model, such as learning rate, batch size, and the number of layers in a neural network. This helps in finding the optimal settings for the model. 4. Regularization techniques, applying methods like dropout, L1/L2 regularization, or early stopping to prevent overfitting. These techniques help the model perform well on unseen data by avoiding learning noise in the training data. 5. Ensemble methods, combining multiple models to make predictions. Techniques like bagging, boosting, or stacking can improve the overall accuracy by leveraging the strengths of different models. 6. Cross-validation, using techniques like k-fold cross-validation to ensure the model's performance is consistent across different subsets of the data. This helps in assessing the model's ability to generalize. 7. Advanced algorithms, utilizing more sophisticated algorithms or architectures, such as deep learning models, which can capture complex patterns in the data. 8. Cleaning and pre-processing data, ensuring the data is clean, free of errors, and properly pre-processed. This includes handling missing values, normalizing data, and removing outliers. The revised classification model shows perfect performance across all evaluated data sets, training, test, and unseen data. Here's a breakdown of the results. Training accuracy. Accuracy, 1.0. Classification report. Precision, recall, and F1 score are all 1.00 for all classes, 0, 1, 2, which means precision measures how many of the predicted positives are actual positives. Recall measures how many of the actual positives are correctly predicted. F1 score is the harmonic mean of precision and recall, providing a single metric that balances both. Support refers to the number of actual occurrences of the class in the data set. Test accuracy. Accuracy, 1.0. Classification report. The metrics are identical to those from the training set, indicating that the model is performing well on the test set too. Unseen data accuracy. Accuracy, 1.0. Classification report. The metrics remain at 1.00 for all classes, showing the model is also handling unseen data perfectly. General insights. Accuracy, 1.0 across all datasets means the model is achieving perfect classification for the data it has seen and the new data it hasn't encountered before. Classification report metrics, all metrics being 1.00 indicates the model has high precision, recall, and F1 score for each class, suggesting the model is both accurate and generalizes well to unseen data. Caution. Overfitting risk. Perfect scores on all datasets might indicate overfitting, especially if the data is not sufficiently diverse or if the model is too complex. It's worth evaluating the model on more diverse and larger datasets to confirm its performance. In summary, the model shows outstanding performance, but it's crucial to validate this across different scenarios and larger datasets to ensure it generalizes well. Thank you.